Dirty dealings, corporate battles, consumer woes. This is Evening 5. MAHB and the government have inked new operating and land lease agreements that extend the airport operator's concession to manage 39 airports in the country to February 11, 2069 from February 11, 2034 previously. The new operating agreements offer MAHB flexibility to pursue strategic investments needed, including partnering with any external parties to improve capacity, facilities and infrastructure of KLIA and designated airports. Transport Minister Anthony Loke said the lack of development funding is one of the biggest hurdles to upgrading the Malaysian airports network, which requires consent from the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Economy. The new agreements enable the airport's operator to fund some of these projects based on the investment recovery model, which would lead to more timely infrastructure upgrades and the ability to better tap tourism potential. MAHB runs Terminal 1 of KLIA, which is the country's main international gateway, and the adjacent Terminal 2, which is the home base of budget airline AirAsia Group, as well as over 36 smaller airports in the country. The stock ended trading today down 1.8% at RM9.23. Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli says the March 31st deadline to update one's data on Padu will remain unchanged to make way for the government's fiscal reform plans. He said the database would have had enough information to serve as a guide for the government's planning policy. The first on Putrajaya's rollout list would be the targeted subsidy for RON 95 fuel, which is expected to be implemented in the second half of this year. As at March 17th, only 5.43 million individuals, or 18.05% of the 30.08 million citizens and permanent residents automatically registered in Padu, have signed into the database's portal to update their data. Still, Rafizi said Padu has sufficient data for Putrajaya to move on to its next step, determining eligibility for aid. According to him, there are 4,752 localities at risk of being excluded from future government assistance due to the lack of Padu registrations and updates. The majority of these localities at risk are in the Klang Valley, Rafizi said, with Selangor leading at 1,282 localities and Kuala Lumpur at 992. This is followed by Sarawak at 765 and Sabah 62. The appeal against the acquittal of Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi in the foreign visa graft case has been postponed to September 9th this year, as the Attorney General's Chambers is still reviewing the latest representations set by Zahid in February. The UMNO President's lawyer, Datuk Hisham Tepotek, told the Court of Appeal that the defence is still waiting for a response and that it's most fair and just that the AG's chambers considers his client's representations. Hisham also told the bench that Zahid needed a postponement today as he had to chair a ministry meeting later in the day. The prosecution did not object to this. However, Datuk Hadaria Said Ismail, who led the three-man bench, cautioned the lawyers, saying she had freed up all her other pending cases to analyse and read the voluminous notes of proceedings from the High Court trial, which ran into 1,000 pages. She said there has to be a full stop somewhere, whatever has been said here, and proceeded to fix September 9th for the appeal to commence. Ace market-bound frozen seafood firm SBH Marine Holdings is setting its sights on capturing a larger share of the premium seafood market in China. Exports to China only account for about 3% of the company's 135.32 million ringgit total revenue from the international market. Currently, South Korea is SBH's biggest market. SBH Executive Director Saw Ling Hian told the press after the company's prospectus launched today that it has been consistently approached to increase its offerings in China. He said SBH is also seeking to strengthen its overall existing international presence amid heightened demand. The company processes and sells frozen shrimp, squid, octopus and cuttlefish, and farms black tiger prawns and white leg shrimp in Perak. The company's existing processing plant in Kuala Kurau has an an annual capacity of 4,800 tons. Source said premium seafood products will allow SBH to command a much better profit margin. He added the company is targeting to transfer its listing to the main market over the next 3 years. SBH is set to be listed on April 8th at 22 cents a piece. Zantat Holdings says its fourth quarter FY 2023 net profit stood at 1.1 million ringgit on the back of 31.7 million ringgit in revenue. In its results filing today, the high-grade calcium carbonate powder producer attributed the net revenue to the production of ground calcium carbonate, which accounted for 28 million ringgit, representing 88.3% of its total revenue. This was followed by the production of calcium carbonate dispersion at 2.76 million ringgit, as well as the production of kaolin dispersion at 114,000 ringgit. This is the first interim financial report being announced by Zantat in compliance with the listing requirements. Full-year net profit stood at 6.77 million ringgit on the back of revenue of 122.8 million ringgit. Compared to its audited FY 2022 accounts, its FY 2023 earnings were 19.4% higher than 5.67 million ringgit a year ago, while revenue rose 8.7% from 113.02 million ringgit in FY 2022. Separately, the group said the public portion of its IPO had been oversubscribed by 130.15 times. Zantat, which is scheduled to list on Bursa's Ace market on March 27th, is aiming to raise 14 million ringgit from the exercise.